The Willow Creek. Haunting. Chapter 1. The unsettling inheritance. Sarah clutched the worn leather steering wheel, her knuckles white. The winding road led deeper into the heart of Willow Creek, a secluded town nestled amidst towering pines and dense undergrowth. Her grandmother, Evelyn, had always spoken of the cabin with a touch of reverence, a place steeped in family history and whispered tales of the supernatural. Now, it was hers. The cabin stood at the edge of a sprawling meadow, its weathered wood and sloping roof hinting at a long and storied past. A chill ran down Sarah's spine as she stepped onto the creaking porch. The air was heavy with an eerie silence, broken only by the distant hoot of an owl. Inside, the cabin was filled with the scent of dust and old wood. Evelyn's belongings were still scattered throughout, each item a snapshot of her life. Sarah wandered from room to room, her heart heavy with a mix of grief and anticipation. That night, as Sarah lay awake in the master bedroom, she heard a faint scratching sound coming from the attic. A cold draft swept through the room, sending shivers down her spine. Mustering her courage, she climbed the narrow staircase to investigate. The attic was dark and dusty, its rafters shrouded in shadows. Sarah's flashlight beam cut through the gloom, revealing a peculiar sight, a rocking chair gently swaying back and forth as if someone were sitting in it. Her heart pounded in her chest as she approached the chair. There was no one there, but the rocking chair continued to move, its creaking echoing through the silent attic. Chapter 2. A Shadow in the Woods. The following day, Sarah decided to explore the surrounding woods. As she ventured deeper into the forest, a sense of unease crept over her. The trees seemed to close in around her, their branches reaching out like skeletal fingers. A cold wind whipped through the trees, carrying with it a mournful wail that sent shivers down her spine. Suddenly, Sarah heard a noise behind her. She spun around, her heart pounding. There was nothing there, just the dense undergrowth and the towering trees. But the feeling of being watched persisted, a cold dread gnawing at her insides. As she made her way back to the cabin, she noticed a peculiar symbol carved into the trunk of an ancient oak tree. It was a strange, swirling pattern that she had never seen before. A shiver ran down her spine as she realized she had seen the same symbol in one of her grandmother's old books. It was a warning, a sign of danger. Chapter 3. Whispers in the Night. That night, Sarah was jolted awake by a blood-curdling scream. It echoed through the cabin, sending a wave of terror through her. She jumped out of bed and rushed to the window, her heart pounding in her chest. The moon was shrouded by dark clouds, casting the meadow in an eerie glow. A figure stood in the center of the meadow, its silhouette illuminated by the moonlight. It was a woman, her form wraith-like and translucent. Sarah could see her face contorted in a mask of pure hatred. The woman raised her arms towards the sky, her voice a chilling whisper that carried through the night. "You will pay," she hissed, her words filled with a centuries-old rage. "You will pay for what you did to me." Sarah's blood ran cold. She knew the woman was a ghost, a vengeful spirit seeking retribution for a tragic event. But what could she have done to deserve such a terrible fate? Chapter 4. Unraveling the Past. Determined to uncover the truth, Sarah began to delve into her grandmother's past. She spent hours poring over old letters, diaries, and photographs, searching for any clues that might shed light on the haunting. One day she stumbled upon a hidden compartment in Evelyn's old trunk. Inside, she found a leather-bound journal filled with cryptic entries and strange symbols. As she read through the journal, a chilling story began to unfold. It seemed that Evelyn's ancestor, a young woman named Anya, had been accused of witchcraft and burned at the stake. Her spirit, consumed by anger and resentment, had been trapped in the cabin ever since, waiting for the perfect opportunity to exact her revenge. Chapter 5. Confrontation. Sarah knew she had to confront Anya before it was too late. Armed with a crucifix and a bottle of holy water, she climbed the attic stairs, her heart pounding in her chest. The rocking chair was swaying back and forth, its creaking echoing through the darkness. "Anya," Sarah called out, her voice trembling. "I know you're here. I know what you've been through." A chilling silence filled the attic, broken only by the faint scratching sound of claws on wood. Then Anya appeared, her form shimmering in the moonlight. Her eyes were filled with a burning hatred, her face contorted in a mask of rage. "You will pay," she hissed, her voice a chilling whisper. "You will pay for what you did to me." Sarah raised the crucifix, its silver glinting in the moonlight. "I didn't do anything," she cried. "I'm not the one you should be angry with." Anya's rage seemed to intensify. She lunged at Sarah, her spectral form blurring through the air. Sarah ducked, the crucifix narrowly missing its mark. She threw the holy water at Anya, but the ghost simply dissipated into thin air, reappearing behind her. Just as Anya was about to strike, Sarah managed to grab the rocking chair and hurl it at the ghost. The chair smashed against the wall, sending Anya reeling. Sarah seized the opportunity, running towards the attic window and throwing it open. She leapt out, landing on the soft grass below. As she looked up at the cabin, she saw Anya's face peering through the window, her eyes filled with a burning hatred. Sarah knew she had escaped, but she also knew that the haunting was not over. Anya would not rest until she had her revenge. Chapter 6. The Dark Secret. Sarah returned to the cabin the next day, determined to learn more about Anya's tragic fate. She continued to delve into her grandmother's journal, uncovering a disturbing secret. Anya had been accused of witchcraft after a series of mysterious deaths in the village. The villagers, fearing for their lives, had turned on Anya, accusing her of being a witch who had brought a curse upon them. Sarah realized that Anya's spirit was trapped in the cabin because she had been denied a proper burial. According to local folklore, a spirit that is not laid to rest can become restless and vengeful. Chapter 7. A Haunting Past. Sarah decided to seek help from the local historian, an elderly man named Elias, who was known for his knowledge of the town's history. Elias confirmed Sarah's suspicions, telling her that Anya had indeed been accused of witchcraft and burned at the stake. He also revealed that the symbol she had seen carved into the oak tree was a pagan symbol associated with protection and warding off evil spirits. With Elias's help, Sarah was able to locate Anya's burial site, a secluded spot in the woods near the cabin. She spent the day cleaning up the grave, removing the weeds and debris that had accumulated over the years. As the sun began to set, Sarah placed a bouquet of flowers on Anya's grave. She closed her eyes and prayed for the restless spirit's peace. Chapter 8. The Final Confrontation. That night, as Sarah slept, she felt a cold presence in the room. She opened her eyes to see Anya standing at the foot of her bed, her face contorted in a mask of rage. "You think you can escape me?" Anya hissed, her voice a chilling whisper. "I will never let you go." Sarah grabbed the crucifix and held it up, her heart pounding in her chest. "I'm sorry," she said, her voice trembling. "I didn't know what I was doing." Anya's eyes narrowed. "You think your prayers can save you?" She sneered. "You're wrong." Just as Anya was about to strike, Sarah heard a faint sound coming from outside. She looked out the window and saw a figure approaching the cabin. It was Elias, the local historian. Elias had heard Sarah's plea for help and had rushed to her aid. He stepped into the room, his eyes wide with fear. "Anya," he said, his voice trembling, "you must leave this place. You have caused enough suffering." Anya hesitated, her rage momentarily overshadowed by a look of confusion. Then, with a final chilling scream, she vanished into the darkness. The next morning, Sarah awoke to find the cabin bathed in sunlight. The air was filled with a sense of peace and tranquility. She knew that Anya's spirit had finally found rest, and that she was free to live her life without fear.